Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to this reading. We have two piles for any past life lessons or karma that you need to be more aware of or that you need guidance on if you're interested. I do always suggest to look at your south node and your north node in your natal birth chart. That will definitely give you your karmic story. In fact, it is, a part of evolutionary astrology is karmic past life astrology, which I used to focus on when I was doing astrological professional readings. But anyway, we have two piles to choose from. One is going to be this Angelite crystal, and then the second one is going to be this green onyx. So take a moment to use your intuition. If you need to pause the video, go ahead, or I will leave the timestamps down below. Alright, those of you that chose pile number one, you have the Angelite crystal. Angelite is what it sounds like, right? It's a great stone for connecting to angels, your team of light, your higher self, your star family, so on and so forth. If you are interested in having more messages there, I did just post an angels and masters pick a card reading, which is in the pick a card playlist, so if you're interested in that. But Angelite is also good for just finding some kind of support. All right, whether it's supporting your body and its systems, or feeling more grounded in that sense, especially if you're feeling, okay, I'm really picking up on that. And it could be a past life issue, because this is what this reading is for, but I'm feeling like someone is literally dealing with issues within their skeletal system or their muscular system, and that again could be a past life issue or just an issue that you might be finding right now at this moment in your life. I think it's tied to having issues of security within the root chakra, and that's why this Angelite crystal is popping up for you. All right, that was one specific message for one person. But yeah, Angelite's really good for chakra alignment, focusing on the chakras, and again calling in that angelic energy, and that support and love and peace and bliss that you get from source energy. Okay, so let's look at this past life. Stay in your lane. Now this could be around one past life, could be about multiple past lives. Shadow. I knew that card was going to come up for one pile. Privilege. The magnifying glass. I'm putting these kind of crooked, actually. I'll fix them later, don't worry. The lilies, interesting. I'm already understanding the story without having to pull everything out as a dice. Yeah, I'm already understanding the story. Size. Service. Bougie, man. It was a bougie past life, I can tell you that much. Milady. That's what I wanted to read, but it's malady. For some reason I heard milady when I flipped that over, but it's definitely an illness, a sickness. Wealthy man. Yeah, I said it, bougie. And for a minute I was like, oh, maybe this past life was revolved around being, royalty, but like a wealthy woman, but now we got wealthy man. Okay, we'll see. Bad health, so that's this. Look at two different decks talking about sickness and illness. Mature man. Factory worker. Mayan. 1900s. I don't know if I'm going to fit all that. I said it in my head. I'm like, it's a lot of cards. Let's see. We'll figure it out. Don't worry. Oh, I already flipped it. Saboteur. Are you getting the story already? Because it's pretty clear to me what the story is for you. I mean, we'll talk about it. Father. Yeah. Again, it seems like a lot of past lives, or just this one specific past life that might be causing an issue. You are a man. Okay. Teacher. All right. Looks like you got tricked. There's past life issues revolving, or I should say regarding, working with trickster archetypes of a sexual nature. So like Don Juan archetypes, players, that kind of energy. So there could be a past life issue around opening up and taking a risk on love. But I think just taking risks in general, taking chances, you don't like to do that. Or there's a fear there of taking a risk or a chance. Also, it's almost like there's an issue around getting older, becoming more mature, getting to like past 60 years old. It's almost like you're not sure what to do with it. Because there's, again, maybe one specific life or multiple lives where getting older and getting sicker caused problems that were hard to diagnose. And I think in general there's a past life issue about figuring something out, like always being in the dark, always being unaware, or things just being stuck in the unknown. All right, and life kind of throwing you into a period of, I don't know what's going to happen next. I don't know, and you don't like it because there's a big issue with that in the past life. Now, there's quite literal specifics regarding a past life. During the Mayan period, when I created this past life deck, I didn't put anything else in around that period, but it doesn't only have to be Mayan. It could be Aztec, so on and so forth. But it's around that period. There's factory worker, and specifically, I think the 1900s is tied to that. Factory worker and the 1900s go together here. And then there's also a past life where you were a teacher, and I feel like the mature man goes with that. Now, this factory worker in the 1900s is not that you worked in the factories, you owned the factory, and that's why the wealthy man is there. And I think at one point, or maybe that, okay, this is what I'm getting. So that past life, as the wealthy person, I want to say person, but I really do feel like it's literally a wealthy man. You knew that your subordinates were getting sick, and you did nothing about it, and then it caused some issue in another life where you became sick. That's how it is, right? That's how karma works. There's a lot of, pensive thoughts, especially with that size card. I feel like in this past life where you were this wealthy worker, a wealthy owner, let me say it again. Again, it's not really about being the worker itself. It's about owning it. And that saboteur, there's shadows here with that of, it was self-serving. And then this is why in this lifetime you're more service to others, because you work through the service to self path, and you switched gears. Now you're more service to others, and you realize that there's no real benefit to only caring about yourself. There's no benefit spiritually, right, to be selfish, essentially. Yeah. You don't undermine others anymore. You don't put down others anymore, but you did in that lifetime. You did. You were very on your high horse. I'm sorry, but there's definitely that energy there of you knew you were powerful, you knew you were wealthy, and you used that. You were almost like a Mr. Scrooge, okay? And it caused issues with also the community. So there might be an issue now that you deal with where you have a hard time fitting in, or you have a hard time really finding support in other people. Maybe that's why that Angelite is there. Again, there's issues of support when you want to use the Angelite crystal, or having a good support system in general. So you could feel like isolated, ostracized, alone, lonely. Now, there's also interesting. So that's what that teacher's for. So with that past life with the teacher and the father are together. So in a past life, so there's father issues. Okay, so there's there's masculine issues. There's father. I mean, there's daddy issues, okay? And it's in a way that no matter what you said, no matter what you did, you couldn't make them proud. I think you were, again, a younger man. I feel like there's a lot about men, and so now if you're a woman in this lifetime, you might have issues with men, and trying to find validity there, trying to find recognition, trying to find some kind of attention. Yeah, because in this lifetime, they tried to teach, this father of yours tried to teach you how to be the best version of yourself, but in their own manipulative, abusive way. In their mind, they were trying to do the right thing, but it didn't turn out that way. You actually ended up being an abuse victim in a way. There's an abuse issue here. That, and then I feel like it's almost like they got older, they got sick, and you didn't take care of them because it's like, you weren't of service to me, so I'm not going to be of service to you. You stayed in your own lane. So there's the past life problem there, I think, is like learning boundaries in this lifetime of staying in your own lane, all right? Of just doing your own thing. But there's definitely a shadow issue here that needs to come out to the light where you, in a way, lean towards the shadow of things because that's all you, not all you've known, but a lot of energy there regarding your past lives is focusing on the shadow, focusing on the negative, focusing on all that is wrong because that's all you ever saw. Do you get what I'm saying? So now in this lifetime, you could have a very pessimistic way of looking at life, or you just fall victim to that. You fall into the trap of that. Because again, you're on the service to others path, so it's not like you are very service to self. But when your shadow comes up, it's very pessimistic about life. It could be like, it could literally manifest itself as going through depression or going through anxiety in waves. It feels like waves, like seasons and cycles of depression and anxiety. And then you're aware of it now. So it's like you know that that's just your shadow coming up, and you know that it's teaching you what it needs to teach you. Now, this Mayan Aztec time period lifetime, you were actually a woman, which is interesting. You were, I don't know if it's like, okay, so I don't know if it was during that time period, because I'm trying to remember what I've learned already with the Mayan and Aztec time period. But there was, okay, so you were like, you were almost like a priestess in a way, where you not guarded, but took care of some kind of temple. You were like a servant in that. Like, you weren't like, okay, I'm trying to describe what I'm seeing. And I'm not very good with history. So, but you were like the housekeeper almost, or like the caretaker. Thank you. The groundskeeper, a caretaker type thing of a temple, of a very religious or spiritual temple. So you were like but you weren't important. Okay. You weren't the high priestess, but you could have been the high priestess. So you weren't at the top of the clergy. Let's use that word, but I don't think that's not what it was called, okay? Please bear with me. I'm trying to explain what I'm seeing. And so it kind of broke your heart because you had a natural way of, you had like a natural way of connecting, of spiritually channeling, of saying what you need to say. And nobody listened. You were always cast into the shadows. Like, you were always pushed to the side. You were always trying to get yourself recognized. Again, so there's the issue there, a past life issue of recognition, of attention, of getting the right validation. And then so there's now that problem in this lifetime of seeking validation from others, especially men. And this can also manifest in a very sexual way, and that's why the lilies are there. Or one of the reasons why the lilies are showing up, because there could be issues regarding intimacy or sexual nature. And it kind of puts you in a bad position of that. It kind of leads to issues also with this past life of self-esteem, of confidence, and of self-worth. All right. Anything else before I close this out? So this fear of sickness, thank you. I didn't really talk about that a lot. This fear of illness is, it's almost like it didn't matter how much money you had, because you had a lot of lifetimes where you were very well off financially. And it didn't matter how much money you had. There's like a lifetime here where it was like you paid all the best doctors in the world. They couldn't fix it. You know, this was actually before the 1900s. Was it? Yeah, this feels like, because I'm seeing like the Wild West, and I'm seeing, so maybe mid 1800s or early 1800s. Yeah, it's like money couldn't solve it, you know, and it taught you real wealth, or so you thought, because then in the 1900s when you were this owner, it just backfired. You didn't actually learn what you were supposed to learn, and that's why in the next lifetime after that, my birds are screaming, I'm sorry. It's, you were really hit with a very poor period, like a very financially poor, so that you could learn true wealth, inner magic. Let me say it that way because it feels like that. All right. So I hope this helped. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you in the next one. All right. Those of you that chose pile 2, you chose the green onyx, which is a good crystal. It's a mercurial crystal, by the way. So it is tied to communication, mental thoughts, memory, as far as like having a stronger memory, like not forgetting and being forgetful, but also dealing with memories. Yeah, what else about the green onyx? It's good for finding self-confidence, self-esteem, being more proud of yourself, being more connected to yourself. So it is almost a grounding stone as well. Let's see what comes up with this past life. Okay. Red flag. Okay, that's a way to start. So you've got the red flag. What else? The oracle. Ah, okay. I already know the story here. Cult leader. Okay. Mice. Wow. The ship. The fox, yeah. I mean, the story is kind of clear there. I'm trying to get these all on the camera. Already the story is clear. Love. Priest. Oh, man. I'm already getting so many messages. Widower. Yeah, there it is. Mature woman. Interesting, because pile 1 got mature man. Occupation. Courtship. Did we see a theme here? I think we see a theme. Yeah, definitely see a theme. Scientist. Fisher. So like fisherman, fisherwoman. Child. The orphan archetype. Hermit. Yeah. So there's that queen. Whoa. Listen. Okay. There's a lot to unpack here. A lot to unpack. Let me start with this. First of all, cult leader. I feel like that's definitely tied to that priest. And love. So, issues with love. All right? But issues with love definitely in a sense of like finding love and support in the wrong groups of people. This feels more like 11. I would look at your 11th house. I'm really, really focusing around astrology for your energy right now. So, make sure that you study your chart and look at your chart, especially your South Node. Is it in the 11th house? Is it in Aquarius? Is there some kind of square or opposition to Uranus with your South Node? It could be if there's an issue with that, it's not only Aquarius, your south node could also be in Libra, um, or having any issue. Your south node could be in the 7th house, could be 11th house, or it could be square or in opposition to Venus in your chart. Okay. There's a lack of a sense of belonging. I don't know where I belong. I don't know who I belong to. It's constantly trying to find the wrong groups. You were associated with the wrong groups of people in a lot. I don't know if it was one lifetime or a lot of lifetimes, but, or maybe just a couple of them that were really, really, significant. Who knows? You would have to go into deep meditation for that to get an answer there. But what the cards are saying is that there is a lot of manipulation and being led on the wrong path because of groups of people, because of associations to those groups of people. It could be friendships, but I feel like it's more than that. It's like, especially with the cult leader there, it feels like associations that are, like being associated as the town drunk, or being associated as the town crazy person, being associated with the town cult, okay? And I know that sounds crazy, being tied to a priest, but think about this. Like, I don't know why I'm thinking about this, but I want to go towards 1666, when it was the burning of the witches during the witch trials. Maybe Salem is very special to you, or maybe you feel connected. You were a witch, and maybe that's, okay. No, there's something there. Occupation, mature woman, and the hermit. You were literally like the herbalist in the woods, and you were accused of witchcraft. You could have literally been a part of the witch burnings, which is crazy. I don't even like to talk about it for some reason. It bothers me. Maybe I've had one there, but like, there's huge anxiety tied to that of being accused of something that you didn't do. So there could be an anxiety in this lifetime where it's like you want to make sure that everybody knows the truth about you. You don't want any rumor spread. You don't want any gossip spread. You don't want anyone to tell you that you did something that you didn't do, because you don't like that energy. You don't like to be attacked or threatened for something that you didn't do. I mean, most people don't, but for you, it's like this deep anxiety about it because of that lifetime. Now, people sought you, okay? So you're a natural healer, because they sought you out from this lifetime of being the hermit or the witch in the woods kind of a thing. It taught you a lot of lessons about being cunning, about being witty, about being smart, about being calculated. That's why you got the fox there. But the fox there is also, again, being tricked with finding love in the wrong places, finding acceptance. It's acceptance and belonging. There's issues of acceptance and belonging that you didn't get. Because as the oracle, right, you knew how to heal things, you knew how to fix things that other people didn't, and they almost looked at it as sorcery and magic. Yeah, there's a lot here about that. But also with this scientist lifetime, all right? And I'm really getting that, like, early, like Galileo, when was Galileo around? Oh my God, I'm so bad with this. I'm going to have to Google it. Hold on. Okay, so it was around the 1500s, mid 1500s to mid 60s. Damn, he lived for a long time, or was as the guess that he lived for a long time. But astronomer, I'm getting something like that. Where when it was discovered that the Earth was at the center and not the sun, it was like this big thing, right? Like, you figured out something huge, and you were not given the right feedback for it. So now, in this lifetime, it's like, when you know things, you don't always necessarily like to express that you know things, because you feel like you're going to get bad feedback, or it's gonna just backfire in a negative, nasty way. Like, yeah, there's definitely something there with this scientist. Like, you were a mastermind, and I think that you still are. I think and maybe this is why you have such a mercurial influence around you. I would definitely say also look at where Mercury is in your chart and what's going on with that, because you might have a natural way of, like, you might be able to retain information naturally. You might be able to communicate very fluently. or fluently, very freely, very, you might be able to have a good flow in communication. There's a lot coming through. Hold on. So, or it might be the opposite. I feel like one person is like the complete opposite. Like you're very forgetful. You bump into things. You're constantly getting distracted. You're always in la la land. You might have ADHD or something, and you might have issues with that. It could be that you were born with Mercury retrograde, or you're progressed Mercury as retrograde. But yeah, just keep that in mind. So, a lot of anxiety and worry. So there's an issue of anxiety because things were taken away from you a lot in past lives. So there's a past life issue here of losing, of being stripped of things, of loss. Yeah, just loss. Especially with the widower in love. I think that you in courtship. Yeah, let's talk about that for a minute. And occupation. You've lost jobs a lot. So you could have the issue in this lifetime where you jump around jobs or you jump around relationships because you're afraid of finding the right person or the right job, and then it's like, I'm scared I'm gonna lose it. Okay, because there was one specific lifetime where you found the love of your life and then you lost that love of your life. Actually, yeah, that's one lifetime, but like lost it because they died. But then there's also there's issues here of ghosting, maybe in this lifetime you have you especially with that red flag there, like you see the red flags in people, but you always want to see the best in people, so you give them the opportunity, you give them the chance, and then they screw you over. So pay attention to that, right? That's a past life issue of wanting to fix a person who's got a lot of red flags, and you know that they're gonna just ghost you and leave you, so don't give it to them. All right, and also don't do that to other people, because it could be a past life issue where now you're like, well, I don't want to have a chance at love, so I'm going to lead this person on, or I'm going to go on a few dates with this person, and then I'm not going to talk to them anymore because I'm scared to fall in love, right? So pay attention to that. Now, the fact that you have the ship and the fisher card, this card always bugs me, this deck, because when I created it, it's supposed to say fisherman, but when it got printed, I don't know what happened there. So I find it funny because it makes me think of, well, hold on. So what is that? Kingfisher? Hold on, let me look. Kingfisher bird. Spiritual meaning. Okay, the kingfisher bird. Good luck, positivity, and new beginnings can represent serenity, calmness, and the ability to navigate difficult times. Adaptability in Japanese culture. Okay, so there's something there about that, like Asian lifetime. Symbol of fulfillment of prayer. Okay, for some reason the kingfisher bird wants to come up. Very random. I forgot what it even was, because for a minute when I said kingfisher, I'm like, what the fuck is a kingfisher? I forgot that it was a kind of bird. So that's a message for someone. But there is, so that, but it tied me to the Asian side of things. Because it was either, well, Japan would make sense, because Japan thrives on seafood, just like Italy does, or other Hawaii, right? Other island type. Well, Italy's not an island, but where I grew up, I was surrounded by ocean. So being a fisherman, on a boat, why is that an issue? Oh, okay. So there could be, okay. It was a very, okay. So there's, my God, I can't get it out. It's a very isolated way of living. You're on the water for months at a time, right? So it teaches you self-sustainability, one thing, but you're stuck with the same people. And there's no real socializing going on with outside of the boat, outside of the ship. So there could be a problem with that, also linking it back to being socially awkward in this lifetime, like having a problem with belonging, having a sense of belonging that's not there, not knowing who to fit in with. Again, so it ties with that, but that's tied to that child orphan, is what I'm getting out of that widower. It's not really widower, it's like you grew up on a ship because you were an orphan. There was nowhere else for you to go. I'm getting like 10, 11 years old. You were thrown on this boat, and then eventually it gave you a love of the sea, actually. So now in this lifetime, you might love the ocean. You might love the water. You might love being near a lake or a river or swimming or whatever. You might even be a boat owner, or you own a jet ski, or you like to go paragliding, or just something on the water. Okay, you like fishing, maybe you're a fish. You're a fish. Okay, yeah, that's not what I want to say. You're interested in fishing, but the point is that archetype of the ocean has also influenced you in a very spiritual way. Now, being that you have had lifetimes where you were an orphan, literally, it taught you how to deal with abandonment, right? It taught you how to deal with loneliness. It taught you how to find the appropriate, again, association with the right group of people, and not calling anyone a family just because you've been around them for long enough, or because they did things for you or whatever. Finding true family. I think it's issues with family that might be influencing this current lifetime, where just because it's family doesn't mean that it's family, right? You have to find the right family. Okay. The last thing I want to say is that with that oracle, because it's like screaming at me right now, you know. I shouldn't have to remind you, but you know. And that's all that matters. All right. I hope this helped. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you in the next one.